This video follows an almost unbelievable journey, one where a crumbling, half-forgotten castle slowly transforms into a stunning 4-star hotel. The masterminds behind this madness? Two lifelong friends with exactly zero construction experience and an impressive amount of optimism. They bought a castle that had been abandoned for more than 30 years, fully aware it was a wreck and fully unaware of just how wild the road ahead would be. What they saw as collapsed walls and leaking roofs, they called potential. What most people would run away from, they called the opportunity of a lifetime. 5 years of work, brutal weather, no formal training, and a global pandemic later, the question remains, can two friends really pull off the impossible? Spoiler alert, things get intense. The story begins at Ted Castle, quietly perched in the rolling hills of Corrèze in south-central France. This place has history baked into every stone. During World War I, it served as a hospital for wounded soldiers. In World War II, it became a college, proving that even in chaos, learning never stopped. Fast forward a few decades, and the castle had fallen into serious disrepair, walls crumbling, roofs failing, and silence-filling rooms that once buzzed with life. Enter Francis and Benoît, childhood friends who stumbled upon a listing that almost sounded fake, a castle for around $170,000. At first, they imagined turning it into a private home. Then they visited in person. Reality hit hard. This wasn't a renovation, it was a resurrection. That's when the bigger idea was born. Transform the castle into a 4-star hotel to help fund its survival. The decision was final. They took on personal debt, signed the papers, and officially jumped into the deep end, no life jackets included. To get started, they called in local artisans for estimates. The initial budget landed at around $2 million, which already felt terrifying. Little did they know, it was just a warm-up. Demolition began with the two of them doing as much as possible on their own. Benoît came from a business background, Francis from water management. Neither had ever built more than confidence. Surprisingly, they managed some interior work, but reality soon knocked loudly. For the dangerous stuff, professionals stepped in with heavy machinery. The biggest challenge? Demolishing the old chapel, which was barely holding itself together. One wrong move could have ended very badly. After a nail-biting operation, the chapel finally came down safely. As costs climbed, creativity kicked in. They opened the project to public investment, and thanks to its online buzz, over 500 people from 20-plus countries joined in turning curious viewers into proud co-owners. Work begins at the very top because if your roof is falling apart, everything underneath tends to panic. The team carefully removes the old roof tiles to inspect the timber structure below, and it doesn't take long to discover the bad news. Years of neglect have not been kind. Some beams are weak, others are rotten, and a few look like they might give up if someone just stares at them too hard. To make things even more exciting, one of the chimneys has been leaking like it's auditioning for a waterfall. Once the damaged sections are stripped away, it's clear that carpentry needs serious help. Enter Bonnet, a roofing company that specializes in saving roofs from total humiliation. Their mission: reinforce the entire roof framework, stabilize the structure, and make sure the castle doesn't slowly fold in on itself during the next storm. Along with repairing the facades, the team must straighten existing beams and replace those beyond saving. Rotten, broken, or simply exhausted, many timbers are removed and replaced with a brand new wooden framework, ensuring the roof will be solid before new tiles are installed. Meanwhile, attention turns to the facades over 1,000 square meters of stone that have endured decades of wind, rain, frost, and general disrespect. The joints between the stones are badly deteriorated, allowing moisture to sneak inside like an uninvited guest. To fix this, workers use jackhammers to expose the original stone, creating a clean surface so new mortar can properly bond. It's loud, dusty work, but it's essential to protect the castle for decades to come. Human history hasn't helped either. After serving as a refuge and fortress until the 19th century, the castle slowly declined and eventually became something of an unofficial storage unit furniture scattered everywhere like a medieval garage sale. As demolition continues, the scale of the challenge becomes obvious. One major obstacle is a massive boulder buried inside the building. Using an excavator and a lot of patience, the team finally removes it, allowing progress to continue. Hydraulic breakers tear through stubborn floors, clearing the way for the next construction phase. Knowing masonry will be critical, Francis and Benoît call in experts from Freemasonry Raya. Their arrival is perfectly timed. The demolition of the chapel has left the wall between the two towers dangerously unstable. The masons rebuild the upper section using concrete and a transversal beam, restoring stability while leaving the lower portion open for the future restaurant connection. With exterior work well underway, the action moves inside. In the main building, Francis and Benoît begin mapping out the future hotel. This area will house the main entrance and grand hall, alongside a seminar space for events. Upper floors will feature guest rooms, while the main tower will host the crown jewels of the property, 2 luxurious suites. Connecting the towers will be a wing containing a bar, flowing seamlessly into a restaurant built exactly where the old chapel once stood. The castle is officially growing new bones. Winter soon announces its arrival, covering the chateau in snow and turning the site into something that looks great on postcards and terrible for construction. Cold weather slows everything down, but the work continues. The slab itself spans 120 square meters and weighs over 60 tons, basically a concrete elephant balancing over their heads. Benoît may still be learning, but every scoop proves he's leveling up fast. With the ground cleared, concrete is poured to form a solid foundation column, no small detail, as this column will carry the weight of the upper floors. Back in the workshop, Francis and Benoît prepare rebar for the main structural beam, the unsung hero that will support the first floor above the future seminar space. Support posts and formwork are installed to handle the immense load. Once leveled, pipes are installed, followed by a plastic moisture barrier and a reinforcing wire mesh. Only then is the concrete poured and carefully smoothed across the surface. Precision matters here. Bad distribution now means cracks later. Next comes the arrival of the first windows, delivered by Defix, a local family business. Made from wood sourced just 15 kilometers away, each window weighs around 75 kilograms, meaning installation requires teamwork, strength, and probably sore arms the next day. Attention then shifts to the main tower. Surprisingly, it's in excellent condition, solid walls and well preserved. The roof, however, needs reshingling. After the hired roofing company goes bankrupt, Francis and Benoît are forced to make a choice: wait or climb up themselves. With help from friends Danielle and Fabian, they choose the latter. Old tiles are removed one by one and sent flying downward. Vertical beams are installed first, followed by horizontal battens, forming a curved wooden grid. Each slate tile is carefully cut with slate shears and placed precisely to follow the roof's natural shape. The result is a roof built to last strong, elegant, and faithful to the castle's historic character. The team focuses on repointing the ancient stone walls using hot lime mortar, a centuries-old recipe made from heated lime, water, cement, and sand. Unlike modern mixes, this allows the walls to breathe, releasing moisture instead of trapping it, a crucial detail for keeping a historic castle alive rather than soggy. 3 years into the adventure, the castle barely recognizes itself. What once looked like a stone survivor from a disaster movie is now showing real promise. Walls stand proud again, new structures have emerged, and the long-imagined vision is finally becoming reality. But just when confidence is at its peak, the project reaches one of its most nerve-wracking moments, restoring the spire of the second tower. This isn't just decorative flair, it's a historic centerpiece, and it's in terrible shape. The big question is simple but terrifying. Do they restore it up there, swaying in the wind, or bring it safely down to earth? Common sense wins. A crane is called in, and suddenly the atmosphere feels less like renovation and more like a high-stakes medical operation. Before the lift begins, the team carefully secures straps, removes fragile zinc elements, and reinforces the structure with wooden supports. The spire is so fragile that a wrong move could turn centuries of history into expensive gravel. Tension grips the site. Every creak, sway, and adjustment tests everyone's nerves. Then slowly, mercifully, the spire touches the ground. Success. A collective sigh of relief follows. One of the most stressful moments of the entire renovation is over, for now. With the spire safely on solid ground, restoration becomes far more manageable. The team follows the same process used on the main tower's conical roof, but this time without dangling above the ground like medieval acrobats. Even the final, both decorative crown and lightning rod is carefully recovered and restored. Pouring it takes just half a day, but preparing for it takes several exhausting days. Although concrete can be walked on after about 48 hours, patience is key. The team waits a full 3 weeks before removing the supports, ensuring the structure is strong enough to stand on its own. Removing formwork is done cautiously. Heavy panels, awkward angles, and old stone buildings are not a forgiving combination. Once exposed, the slab is thoroughly inspected for imperfections. The focus now shifts inward to a space destined to become the castle's social heart, the bar. This is where future guests will unwind, trade stories, and probably debate which tower has the best view. Once restoration is complete, the crane returns for the final act, lifting the 2.5-ton spire back into place. The tension returns instantly. Every strap, chain, and movement is monitored to protect the freshly restored zinc tiles. Team members position themselves strategically on scaffolding, guiding the descent with absolute precision. At last, the spire settles perfectly into position. Mission accomplished. With the final roof tiles carefully installed, the castle's roofing restoration is complete, a stunning achievement considering the ruin they started with. What was once falling apart is now standing tall, crowned once again by its spire. While the exterior shines with progress, the interior still has a long road ahead. Then comes an unexpected plot twist: the COVID-19 pandemic. Funding becomes harder to secure, supply chains slow to a crawl, and the planned 2021 hotel opening is pushed back. But every cloud has a silver lining. With fewer external contractors available, the two friends take on more work themselves, cutting costs and tightening control over the project. Then comes an unexpected plot twist: the COVID-19 pandemic. Funding becomes harder to secure, supply chains slow to a crawl, and the planned 2021 hotel opening is pushed back. But every cloud has a silver lining. With fewer external contractors available, the two friends take on more work themselves, cutting costs and tightening control over the project. Originally, the entire renovation was expected to cost around $2 million. Reality, however, had other plans. As hidden problems surfaced, the budget quietly doubled to nearly $4 million. Crumbling foundations, weakened walls, and aging roofs all demanded far more attention than anticipated. Add pandemic-driven supply chain chaos and soaring material prices, and suddenly every invoice felt like a small medieval siege. Above the future bar, work continues on the second floor, which will soon house guest rooms. Once that's finished, only the crown jewel remains: the suites in the main tower. Up above, steel profiles rise to shape the interior layout, and eco-friendly panels made from gypsum and recycled paper are installed to form the walls. Sustainability remains a priority, even when building a luxury hotel inside a centuries-old tower. Insulation follows, with biosourced cellulose injected into wall cavities for thermal comfort and sound control. On the upper level, rooms begin to take shape, offering windows that look out over the park below. Back on the first floor, laser levels guide every steel profile into perfect alignment. Rock wool panels add an extra layer of acoustic insulation, ensuring that future guests enjoy peace and quiet instead of their neighbor's alarm clock. Without pausing to celebrate too much, they immediately prepare formwork for the second floor. This tower will house the hotel's most exclusive accommodations. One suite will occupy the first floor, while above it, a stunning duplex suite will span 2 levels, offering about 45 square meters of luxury. This duplex is the showstopper the room guests will brag about later. It even features a cozy upper-level living space accessed via the tower's original staircase, a beautiful reminder that this modern comfort rests on centuries of history. Step outside, and the next challenge waits. The duo tackle their biggest solo masonry project yet, rebuilding a 40-meter stone wall to restore the park's historic look. Using traditional methods, string lines, and serious patience, each stone is carefully aligned to recreate the original slightly angled design. It's slow, precise work, but the results are worth it. This wall is just the beginning. Plans are already in place for a classic French garden, complete with straight paths, trimmed hedges, and carefully arranged flower beds. As ceilings close in, the chateau finally reveals its true layout. Hallways emerge, rooms feel defined, and the vision becomes tangible. To top it off, Dylan from Sion visits to demonstrate proper plastering techniques right on site. From trowel angles to smoothing methods, Francis and Benoît soak it all in. Once total beginners, they now work with growing confidence, proof that this renovation has turned them into true all-round builders, one wall at a time. Popularized in the 17th century, French gardens were all about symmetry, order, and showing nature who's boss. And then comes an unexpected discovery. During chapel demolition, a historic stone bearing a red cross emerges, likely dating back to the 12th century and associated with the Knights Templar. Known for their role in the Crusades, the Templars left their mark across Europe. By incorporating this stone into the new doorway, the team preserves a powerful fragment of history, allowing the past to live on inside the castle's modern rebirth. Back inside the main tower, attention returns to the first floor suite, where another challenge waits. The fireplace, once a grand centerpiece, is dangerously unstable. To save it, the stones are carefully dismantled, cleaned, and restored. While it won't be functional anymore, the chimney will live on as a decorative feature, preserving the soul of the room without setting off any alarms. A new batch of windows arrives for the ground floor, and despite the cold, they're carefully installed. With these in place, the chateau finally becomes sealed against the elements, a huge win when temperatures drop. Finally, attention turns to the park's arched doorway. Using a wooden support frame, stones are carefully positioned to form a perfect segmental arch. When the frame is removed, the arch stands strong and elegant, proof that piece by piece, the castle's past is being beautifully rebuilt for the future. Once the concrete has set, attention turns to stripping the walls. Automatic hammers chip away layers of old paint and plaster, revealing the raw stone beneath. As temperatures drop, the team gathers briefly around a fireplace to warm up, proof that even castle builders need coffee breaks. But there's another challenge ahead: access. The existing entrance to the suite is far too small for modern use. To fix this, part of the tower wall must be carefully dismantled to create a new doorway over 2 meters high and 1.6 meters deep. With walls this thick, precision is everything. The stones are removed and rebuilt methodically to keep the structure stable. With the weather briefly on their side, the focus shifts outdoors to a brand new terrace. The team clears debris, levels the ground, and prepares fresh foundations for what will soon be a wide, welcoming extension across the front of the bar. Stretching all the way to the building's edge, the terrace is designed as a generous outdoor gathering space. Inside, the staircase is nearly complete, with the final steps salvaged from the original castle now set in place. The elevator installation is also finished, officially dragging this medieval structure into the modern age. At the entrance beneath the main arch, which opens toward the future French garden, work begins on a carefully crafted stone walkway built entirely from the ground up. Smaller stones are selected and fitted by hand, gradually filling the gaps and creating an interlocking surface with a natural, patterned appearance. This age-old cobblestone method has been used across Europe for centuries, shaping streets, courtyards, and garden paths long before modern paving techniques existed. Once all the stones are securely set, a protective finish is applied to strengthen the surface and bring out the natural character of the stone. The result is a gentle sheen that enhances durability without losing the path's traditional charm. As a final touch, a finely made wooden emblem displaying the chateau's name is placed at the center of the pathway. A small garden is planned along the perimeter, future-proof that someone thought about shade, comfort, and afternoon coffee breaks long before the first guest arrives. Winter, however, isn't quite done. Snow returns and blankets the chateau yet again, bringing frozen tools, slippery stonework, and hands that go numb 5 minutes too fast. Still, work continues. Every wire has to be perfectly routed and discreetly hidden to preserve the castle's historic charm. Ventilation pipes are installed next, all carefully positioned and ready for the units that will soon keep the space comfortable instead of medieval. At last, the moment everyone's been waiting for arrives, construction of the restaurant finally begins. Until now, Francis and Benoît have been busy rescuing history, carefully fixing what time nearly erased. This phase is different. For the first time, they're working with a true blank canvas. No crumbling walls, no surprises hiding behind plaster. Just pure creative freedom, which is both exciting and slightly terrifying. Work kicks off with the unglamorous but absolutely essential stuff: utilities, water lines, gas networks, and all the connections a professional kitchen needs are carefully mapped and installed. Once everything is in place, concrete is poured to form the main slab. Attention finally shifts to the bathrooms, where precision and patience matter just as much as anywhere else. At this stage, it's clear these aren't just finishing touches. They're the details that turn raw construction into a refined, welcoming space ready to serve its first guests. Outside, the terrace and landscaped park restore the chateau's connection to its surroundings, while stone walls, arches, and garden plans reflect classical French elegance. Modern systems heating, ventilation, insulation, elevators, and electrical networks are discreetly integrated, ensuring four-star comfort without disturbing the soul of the building. Inside the chateau, the pace doesn't slow. Francis and Benoît dive into electrical and climate control preparation, drilling holes, installing ducts, and threading what feels like kilometers of cable through floors and ceilings. At the same time, foundations are prepared for the future terrace, where guests will one day sip drinks and admire views, preferably without thinking about the amount of cement beneath their feet. Sustainability plays a key role, with local materials, eco-friendly insulation, and reclaimed elements woven throughout the renovation. Perhaps most impressive is the human achievement behind it all. With no formal construction background, Francis and Benoît navigated structural collapses, financial strain, a global pandemic, and centuries-old challenges, yet emerged not just as renovators, but as true builders. The final result of this extraordinary project is nothing short of a complete rebirth. What began as a crumbling, abandoned castle silent for decades and slowly surrendering to time has been transformed into a refined four-star hotel that seamlessly blends history, comfort, and modern craftsmanship. The bar and restaurant form the social heart of the hotel, built where ruins once stood, offering a place for conversation, relaxation, and shared moments. Every part of the chateau now tells a story. The once damaged roof stands strong again, crowned with restored spires that honor the castle's original silhouette. Thick stone walls, carefully repaired using traditional lime mortar, continue to breathe as they were meant to centuries ago. Inside, dark, neglected rooms have become warm and inviting spaces, filled with natural light, solid floors, and thoughtfully restored architectural details. The main tower now houses the hotel's most exclusive suites, including a striking duplex that preserves the original staircase, allowing guests to quite literally walk through history. If you enjoyed watching this transformation unfold and want more jaw-dropping builds, restorations, and real stories of people doing the impossible, make sure you subscribe to TTI. New projects, deep dives, and inspiring craftsmanship are always on the way.